In this video, we're going to have a look at how to convert between units. Units of measurement are predetermined quantities used as a reference when you measure. And to ensure that everyone measures in the same way and understand what those measurements mean, we use the International System of Units. This system is also referred to as the metric system. In this system, we start off with a base unit, and in our case, that base unit will be meters. Then prefixes are added to form values that are powers of 10 times bigger or smaller than the base unit. So, as an example, a value that is 100 times bigger than a meter is called a hectometer, and one that is 1,000 times smaller than a meter is called a millimeter. When you are weighing, your base unit will be grams, and if you're working with fluids, it will be a liter. But let's go back to focusing on meters. Not all of these measurements are used often. So we are going to focus on kilometer, meter, centimeter, and millimeter. And for each of these, we also have an abbreviation. This system is used specifically because it fits perfectly with our decimal system. Placing the comma after the meter, we can clearly see that a kilometer is 1,000 meters. Or we can see that a centimeter is 0.01 meters. So when moving from left to right, changing kilometer into a meter, you will have to multiply by 1,000. Changing meters into centimeters, you multiply by 100, and from centimeter to millimeter, you multiply by 10. And when moving from right to left, all of this will change to division. Now let's have a look at how we can use this in questions about perimeter and area. Example 1. A rectangle has a length of 500 centimeters and a breadth of 2 meters. First question, determine the perimeter of the rectangle. It is important to ensure that all information is in the same unit before you start doing any calculations. In example 1, we are given information in terms of centimeters and meters, so you need to decide in which unit you are going to work. I will show both options. We have a length of 500 centimeters, so if working in centimeters, I need to change the 2 meters to centimeters by multiplying by 100. So 2 meters will be equal to 200 centimeters. So this perimeter will be equal to 2 lengths of 500 centimeters and 2 breadths of 200 centimeters each. The total perimeter will then be 1,400 centimeters. Or you could have chosen to change everything to meters. So the 2 meters will stay like that. And now we need to change the 500 centimeters to meters by dividing by 100. If you do this, you will see that 500 centimeters is actually equal to 5 meters. So the perimeter will be 2 5 meters plus 2 2 meters, and that will give us 14 meters. You could have also chosen to say 1,400 centimeters can be converted to meters by dividing by 100 again. So 1,400 divided by 100 is also 14 meters. Question B. Determine the area of the rectangle. We already know that 500 centimeters is 5 meters and that 2 meters is the same as 200 centimeters. For area, we have the formula length times breadth, which you can do as 5 meters times 2 meters to get to 10 meters squared. Or you can say that you're going to work with 500 centimeters times 200 centimeters. That will give you 100,000 centimeters squared. We already know that a meter is 100 times bigger than a centimeter. Now we can also see that a meter squared is 10,000 times bigger than centimeter squared. This is because both measurements are 100 times bigger. And if I multiply those two measurements with each other, it will be 100 times 100, which will give us the 10,000 times bigger. So when converting between square meters, we need to adjust the system a bit. Changing from kilometers squared to meters squared, we have to multiply by 1,000 twice. That means in the end we will multiply with 6 zeros, or 1 million. As we've just seen, changing from meter squared to centimeter squared means multiplying by 100 twice, and that is 10,000. And finally, changing from centimeter squared to millimeter squared, we multiply by 10 twice, and that is multiplying by 100. So just like moving one space to the right in meters means multiplying by 10, moving one space to the right in meter squares means multiplying by 100. And again, moving to the left means dividing by these same values. Example 2. The area of a triangle is 64 centimeters squared. What is the area in millimeters squared? So we want to change from centimeters squared to millimeters squared, and we do that by multiplying with 100. 64 multiplied with 100 will give us 6,400 millimeters squared. Question B. What is the area in meters squared? This time we need to move from centimeters squared to meters squared, and that's done by dividing by 10,000. 64 divided by 10,000 means we need to move the comma 4 spaces to the left. This will give us an answer of 0,0064 meters squared.